quite common to want to add a grid of blog posts onto a page, like a home page or some other page. And there are a number of different ways that you can do that. And we've looked at one option, which is the co-blocks posts block in a previous video. In this video, we're going to have a look at Ultimate Addons Post Grid block, which is a bit more sophisticated and offers maybe a few more customization options. So here's my website, and this is the grid of blog posts using the previous, using the co-blocks block, which is this one here. So I'm just going to remove that, and I'm working within my homepage section here. I am going to look at the Ultimate Addons blocks and select this one, Post Grid. And straight away you can see that it's got a little bit more going on really than the other one. So as always, you've got a fair amount of options down here on the right hand side. So what are we going to be pulling through? Posts or pages? In this instance, posts, but you could in principle pull through some pages if you wanted to. So that would depend on what pages you had set up. And then it's saying, do you want to use categories or tags? And we don't have any tags running on this site at the moment, so we'll use categories to pull through, and we'll use all categories. We could select just posts from a particular category if we wanted to, but we'll select all for now. I'm going to reduce the number of items just to make it display a bit nicer. So if we reduce the number of items to 3, and then options around how we order things. So do we order by date, by title, randomly, or in the order they appear on the menu? So I'm going to keep that as it is for now. I could change the number of columns if I wanted to. So go down to 2 columns or up to 4 columns. No, up to, sorry, 3 columns. And select that the columns are going to be equal height. And then here you can control what appears in your blocks. So I can decide whether or not I want to display the featured image, and if I do want to display it, what size and what position. I've got option to have a bit more control over what content displays. So at the moment it's got almost all the meta information. I could, for example, turn off whether the comments are displaying. I might decide I want to turn off the date. Indeed, I could just turn off everything and just show the title if I wanted to. So that gives you a bit more granularity. And then with the excerpt, it's set to 25 words, but we could set this to, say, 12 or 30, whatever we wanted, just to make it seem a bit more in line with our style. You've got these read more buttons at the bottom. So you can turn that on or off. And you can select if you want the blog to open in a new tab or not. So this would depend what kind of content it is. Typically, if it's your own site and you're linking through to other pages on your own site, you would normally want people to stay within a single tab. But you might, for some other reason, decide that you want to open it in a new tab. That's obviously up to you. And then the button text is set to say read more, but you can change that if you want to. And you've got some control over the typography here in terms of the font size. Indeed, you can change the font family if you want to, and the font weight, line height, and so on. You've got control over the style of the buttons. So the button border, at the moment there's no border, but we could add one if we wanted to. We can set the width and change this to make our corners more rounded. So if we wanted to have more of a kind of round style to the buttons. The padding is going to control how far away the button sits from the edges of the other bits of content. So it's saying 5 pixels down from the paragraph of text and 5 pixels up from the bottom of the block, and 10 in from the left, 10 in from the right. We can control the button colours if we want to. This is for the text and this is for the background colour. So we select that, can stay like that. Again, you can play with this really as much as you like. So if we just preview that so you can see how it looks. So it's quite neat, and maybe a bit more control over how this might look on your site. Other things that you can do over here, you can obviously change the alignment if you want to. So let's keep it aligned left for the time being. And oops. That is most of the things that you can do.